Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. Just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. Listen to your heart. 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 Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. Just believe. You 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 just believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. Just believe. You just believe. You just believe. You just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. 'Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart.
Yes, people, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the hell you're watching from. Welcome back to another stream. Hope you're all doing very well. As you can see, we're not doing daily at the minute because there's not a huge amount happening. When the transfer window opens, I'm sure we'll be daily. But we're trying to give you as much as we possibly can. And in return, all we ask is that you hit that like button, hit that big thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and a link in the chat if anybody wishes to be channel member. Who have we got in the building at 5:05 on this Thursday evening? We got Reju, Samar, AA Witherspoon, myself, Darsh Meta, Bree, Manchester's Blue, Beyond Belief, Nam. Yes, everybody. Welcome, everybody. Hit that big thumbs up button on your way in, man. House rules. Do you know what I'm saying? You take your shoes off when you come into a house. You hit the like button when you arrive in here. Big up Timma, MC Football, Nax Z16 says yes. Welcome to Sit Down with Jeff. We're going to chat about it all, man. Pep's big decision, Bruno Guimaraes, Ederson to Saudi, and I see plenty of you popping off about the Rodrigo news. Rodrigo at Real Madrid. Is there a potential move to Manchester City for Rodrigo? I'll tell you out straight, people. I would fucking love Rodrigo. I would love Rodrigo, man. I would love it if we beat them. I would love it if we got Rodrigo, man. What a baller, and he's exactly what we need right now. I've been saying to you lot for ages, we need to put our time, effort, and money into getting midfielders and wingers. Let's stop with this Frimpong nonsense. Let's stop with this defenders nonsense. Let's put our time, effort, and money into refreshing that midfield and wingers. situation. If we're expecting to lose Bernardo and, you know, Kevin De Bruyne, maybe minutes being lowered and so on, you get the drift, people. Look, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Hit the thumbs up button. Let's try and get to 50 likes ASAP Rocky. It helps massively. Big up Bevo, member for 3 months. Yes, lads. Rodrigo gets me excited. We may as well start with Rodrigo, Joe, because it's the one that it's kind of on everyone's mind right now. Before we get into whether the logistics of how this deal could happen, if it was to happen, just talk to me about Rodrigo as a player, and is he someone that would, as Bevo feels, excited?
Well, I mean, it would excite me. Like, I'm not against the signing. Of course not. Why would I be against the signing? He scored against us fucking twice to basically knock us out of the Champions League. Why would I not want to take that away from Real Madrid? So he's a player that I would definitely 100% be interested in, because it fits a positional need as well. We don't really have wingers. We have Doc, who is our only, like, maybe Oscar Bob as well, you could put into that category, but natural wingers. You know, your typical wingers. Fast, tricky, skillful players. We ain't got those. We got Jack Grealish, who plays on the wing, but he's not really your typical winger. Oscar Bob's not really your typical winger either. We've seen him play at false 9 at times, both sides of the wing, doing various things. So it would fit a gap in the team. Of course, got Savio coming in as well, but nobody actually really knows like what his role's going to be. But it's a good player to keep your eye on. I mean, he can play both sides. Again, he's got a proven track record of scoring big goals in big moments. Like, he's a proven player. It just kind of comes down to logistics, doesn't it, really? Like, it's just not the most realistic of targets.
No, it's not the most realistic of targets. And I kind of get, in a way, why people believe that this could happen with the Mbappe to Real Madrid seemingly inevitable. It kind of makes it difficult, doesn't it, for one or two of the Real Madrid players? You know, they have Endrick, they have Vinny, they'll have Mbappe, they have Rodrigo. I don't know who they've got. Arda Güler as well. He's class. I think he's an absolutely class act.
Brahim Diaz.
How are all these? Who? Yeah, Brahim Diaz. Yeah, Brahim Diaz. Man, they've got a serious roster of wingers and just forwards in general that they can work with. So, where are all these top talents going to get game time at Real Madrid? I don't know. Will they all be satisfied just to be part of Real Madrid and not play week in, week out? Because Vinny is one of the first names on the team sheet. Mbappe will be one of the first names on the team sheet. Bellingham, one of the first names on the team sheet. That's 3 of the attacking positions taken up. I know it's not the exact front 3. You know, Bellingham won't be front 3. But it's 3 of the attacking. They have Hofsalu. You know what I mean? There's not a huge amount of room. I'm looking at, what's his name? Rodrigo's contract here. He's contract till 2028, which is, you know what I mean, 4 years from now, essentially. And he's on €240,000 a month. So around 200,000 pounds a week. Sorry, €240,000 a week. He's on around £200,000 a week. We could afford that. We could definitely afford that. When you consider the fact that you think Bernardo Silva's going to go, let me see what Bernardo Silva's on exactly. I believe he's on a pretty high wage as well, Bernardo Silva. If you're just to do like for like, swap for swap, let go of Bernardo Silva and his wages, and you go, yeah, Bernardo's on £300,000 a week. So Bernardo's on £100,000 a week more than Rodrigo. You could nearly bump Rodrigo up to £300,000 a week to try and entice him to come to Manchester City. But would he want to come to Manchester City? Maybe. I mean, the quote that everyone's going absolutely berserk over right now is this one. It's Rodrigo was asked about City. He says, to be honest, we knew Man City were better. This was in the Champions League quarter-final this season. For me, it is the best team in the world, the one that plays the best football. So to be fair to him, he's showing a lot of admiration and a lot of praise for us as a team. I mean, we did pump them the year before, of course, didn't we? But they got the better of us on penalties this season. So, look, of course, if you ask anybody about us, any player about us, except Trent, of course, who says it means more for him, but ask anybody. They're going to say they admire Man City's style of play and that we're probably the best football team in the world. Does that mean we're going to sign these players? No. And then there's an article here from Raghavendra Gudar from the Real Madrid News. This is some page called Real Madrid News. And it says Real Madrid will demand €170 million for forward amid Man City interest. So this Raghavendra, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, is suggesting that City are interested. Yeah, from Mundo Deportivo. Apparently he works for Mundo Deportivo. Reports that the Premier League champs Manchester City are interested in acquiring the services of Rodrigo from Real Madrid. Okay, Mundo Deportivo. They're a Spanish outlet. As per report, Man City manager Pep Guardiola is an admirer of the Brazilian attacker's style of play and will be open to adding him to the squad. But Real Madrid will demand 170 million euros. Is Rodrigo worth us going and spending 170 million euros on? Look, my line always is, people, it's not my fucking money, yeah? It's not my money, so I don't really care. If we go and spend 570 million euros on Rodrigo and it's the player Pep decides he wants, it's a lot of money in my head. Do you know what I mean? It's not what I would believe he's worth, but if the club feel he's worth that, of course, he's worth that. It was the same with Jack Grealish. For those of you who are OGs, and you'll remember when we signed Grealish on this channel, we were talking about it and we were saying, is he worth 100 million pounds? No, but that was the release clause. That's what City decided he was worth. If City and Pep and the club decided they were happy to pay 100 million euros for Jack Grealish, we can't fucking argue with that. Do you know what I mean? We can't complain with that. But if City decide they want to go and spend 170 million euros on Rodrigo, do I think it's good business? No, but I don't support a business. I support a football club. So it won't piss me off. I won't lose sleep. But look, whilst this is at a very infant stage, this rumor, and it's predominantly coming from Spain. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing coming from England or any English journalists about Rodrigo to Manchester City. It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question as such. Like I said, I've gone over, Joe, with the amount of attacking talent they have. They're going to have to let go one or two players. Whether that means this summer or next summer when they kind of have a better idea of who their main front three is, I don't know. But I mean, Vinny, Mbappe, Rodrigo, Endrick, Bellingham, Arda Güler, and Brahim Diaz. Yeah, that's 7 fucking players. That's 7 wide and front players. How can you hold on to all of them? And they're all top players, if not world class. How can you hold on to all of them?
You struggle. Is the only answer I get from that. I mean, I just don't know whether everybody fits in to. I mean, I guess with the fact that the football calendar keeps on expanding and there's constantly more games every season. Club World Cup is changing, Champions League is changing. There's gonna be more games for clubs like Real Madrid. So even though it's difficult to keep all these players happy, you know, it's kind of getting easier at the same time with the fact that there's just so many more games. Like, it just happens. But again, when you look at, I mean, I look at the example, big Champions League tie, let's say quarter-final, semi-final, maybe even final, you can only really pick 3 or 4. Who gets to the bench and are they happy with that? That's kind of the situation that you get in when you get to the semi-final. It's like, Vinicius, you're in. Mbappe, you're in. Bellingham, you're in. Rodrigo, you're in. Arda Güler, you're on the bench. Brahim Diaz, you're on the bench. You know, all these players, bench. It's kind of difficult. Will they accept that? I mean, do we underestimate the pulling power of Real Madrid? Is the privilege of playing for Real Madrid enough to just keep these players around? I think it just could be. It's Real Madrid we're talking about here. We're not talking about no ordinary club. If a player's not playing as many games as they might like, but they're at Real Madrid, kind of hard to get them away. I mean, I think Dash puts it best. I think it was Dash who said it. Yeah, Dash said it. Not my money, so yeah, take him. I think that's kind of where I'm at, where the financial rules are changing in terms of the amount that you're going to be able to spend. This is like the last chance that we're going to have to be able to break the bank and spend big. And it's not my money, so it's not my problem. I really don't care. If we can afford it, and it's a realistic target, and it makes us better, and we think it's going to make us better, then we should go for it.
I agree. As I've said plenty of times, this summer I think City should flex their muscles, you know, and their financial strength. And that's the last opportunity we're going to get to do so. And it's, in my belief, Pep's last summer as the Manchester City manager. So go and spend it. Before we continue with Rodrigo, he's made a statement himself. Hit the like button, man. We're 7 likes off 50. Let's get up to 50 likes. Be absolutely fantastic. Super chat here from Professional Gatbot. Good to see you as always, professional idiot, with your latest reincarnation. Says, come spend the night with me, babe. I'm available. Well, sure. Yeah. Why not? Why not? If you're available and the offer's there, why not? And says, no, too expensive. Plus, that midfield needs to be replenished for maybe next season. I think it needs to be a big summer in general. I think midfield and wingers. Now, what's the Rodrigo statement? Big up, professional idiot, for the super chat as always, man. Always supporting us, always looking after us. Rodrigo has made a statement because I think he's been made aware of how blown out of proportion his comment was regarding Manchester City and how he believes we're a better team than them. So he goes on to kind of, cover up his tracks and says, a very annoying situation occurred today where one of my interviews was completely taken out of context. To be very direct, I am very, in block capitals, happy at Real Madrid. I live a dream every day and it does not, in block capitals, cross my mind to leave the club of my life. Now we continue with history to make by 15. This is a direct translation, by the way, from either Portuguese or Spanish, whatever he's speaking here. Hala Madrid and nothing more. So he's making it clear that he's very, very happy at Real Madrid. As Joe said, do we underestimate the pulling power of Real Madrid and the sheer privilege that these people feel to just be a Los Blanco? Like I told you, people, when I got back from the Bernabeu a couple of weeks ago, I went to City Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. And I said to you, look, it's just different. It's just fucking different, that place, yeah? You get off the tube or the train, the tram, whatever it is, at Santiago Bernabeu station, and you see the stadium, and you're just hit by this overwhelming aura. Now, look, I've been to every big stadium you can think of in European football. I've been to pretty well all of them. Your San Siros, your Old Traffords, your Allianz Arenas, your Anfields, your Etihads, your everywhere. Anywhere you can think of, I've probably been there. I'll tell you for a fact, nowhere hits like the Bernabeu. Nowhere gives you that whoa sense of feeling like the Bernabeu does. So are these players, they are feeling it. They are feeling the privilege to play for Real Madrid, because it is a privilege to play for Real Madrid. And Rodrigo's Brazilian. Real Madrid have a massive heritage and history and fan base in South America. In South America, the dream is to play for Real Madrid. They don't dream of playing for Manchester City. They don't dream of playing for fucking Fulham or, anybody in England, really. They dream of playing for Real Madrid and then slightly lesser extent Barcelona. They are the two clubs that these Brazilian kids and Argentinian kids dream of playing for. So in a way, he's telling the truth. He's living his dream right now. He's playing for Real Madrid. But with that said, that's all fine and well. That's all fine and fucking well. You live in your dream. But if you're living your dream, and that means not playing enough football or not playing any football, I don't know what the plans are. Carlo's leaving next summer. Carlo Ancelotti's leaving Real Madrid next summer. If you're not getting sufficient football at whatever age you are now, what age is Rodrigo now? Is he 21, 22? I'll get him up now. Rodrigo is 23, so he's 24 next year. He's 24 next January. At 23 years of age, are you in a position to be allowing yourself to stagnate and not play enough football, all for the benefit of wearing the Real Madrid badge when time is called upon? These are things that Rodrigo's going to have to weigh up. And there's definitely an avenue for him to play consistent football for Manchester City. You know what I mean? Rodrigo comes to City, Joe. He's a starting winger. He is a starting winger. That's just fact. Joe, you there? Joe,
My microphone was muted because I had to cough.
I thought we
Listen, I'm still on the back of dying. All right, let me die in peace. But he'd start basically because we don't have wingers. We don't have typical wingers. Jack Grealish is starting on the wing, but he's not, like, if you were to describe Jack Grealish as a player, he's not a winger, is he? Same thing with Phil Foden. We've got Doku, Oscar Bob. Potentially, again, he's kind of 50-50. Like, Bernardo Silva goes, we have a massive gaping hole on the right wing. If that's not Doku's position, we have a massive gaping hole on the right wing. Like, that, we need to sign someone in that position. Like, he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet. Even if Savio comes in, Rodrigo's ahead of Savio in a pecking order. 100%. 100%. Like, he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet to start the season. So he'd be guaranteed football. As long as he plays well. You can't guarantee anything in football, especially under Pep. If you're not playing well, you just get dropped. Simple as that. So if he doesn't, hit the ground running, then he may be out of the team. But to start the season, yeah, be one of the first names on the team sheet with Real Madrid. Who knows how that's going to go? I'd imagine he'd probably be up there. He'd be higher on the pecking order than someone like a Brahim Diaz. But, again, is he going to play? Is Mbappe going to want to play up front? He didn't particularly enjoy playing up front for PSG when you had Messi and Neymar. He didn't enjoy playing with them. Is he going to want the team built around him? Is Bellingham going to continue playing as a false nine? Like, I don't know what's going to happen at Real Madrid because of all of these superstar players that they have. But you don't have to worry about game time or wages. We can up his wages and give him game time. It's just kind of, does he want to leave Real Madrid? By all accounts, by what he's saying himself, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, for now, yeah, but things are going to change. I don't mean his mind's going to change. I mean things are going to change. The landscape of Real Madrid's going to change. Trust me, people. When Mbappe lands at Real Madrid, things are going to change. Things are going to change as far as selection goes, as far as formation goes. I've seen people suggesting that Madrid might play a two up top. And play Vinny and Mbappe as those two up top, and then whatever else behind them. I'm not so sure, because they're trying to get Alphonso Davies in, aren't they? They want to get Alphonso Davies into Real Madrid, and he's an extremely attacking left back. He's a wing back essentially, isn't he? They're going to want to find room for him to bomb forward. So how does that affect the winger play? The landscape of Madrid is going to change when Mbappe lands. The landscape of Real Madrid is going to change when Arda Güler, when Endrick and these players start to, grow into their roles in the squad and, fulfill their potential type thing. So for Rodrigo, he's going to have to weigh up what's best for him. What's best for him? And like I said, I think he walks into our team. I think right now he walks into our team, Rodrigo. I think he's such an unbelievable player, so technically gifted. He has goals in him. He has experience in him now from his time at Real Madrid. He understands the pressure of playing for a big club under a big manager with big demands. I would love Rodrigo at Real Madrid, but as of right now, it doesn't seem realistic right now. He seems happy at Real Madrid. I think if this was to happen at all, it would probably be further down the line. I don't think it would be this summer. I think he'd need to experience and get used to life with Mbappe and whatever the team may look like with Mbappe in the squad. Because Mbappe is the first name in the team sheet when he arrives. Bellingham then, Vinny then, and then they'll start to build around that. Courtois, I don't know, whoever. They'll start to build around that. But for now, it's... I don't think... My honest opinion, people, is that Rodrigo's not coming. That's my honest opinion. Look, if anything more develops on this... Trust me, we'll be all over it. We'll get on the Rodrigo hype train. We'll start tracking his planes and all that kind of shit. But for now, you know what I mean? It's just a rumor mill. Another super chat here from Donna Cullen. Big up Donna Cullen. Says, Wagwan, Mr. Hugh. The weather is romantic. What's up with everyone flirting with me today, man? Am I looking particularly good today or something? I mean, you haven't even had a shower yet today. I've just been to the gym and that. But if I'm looking good, you know what I mean? Let me know. Appreciate the super chat, Donna. Yeah, the weather's romantic. Why not? Big up for the super chat. Man. Let's get those likes up, people. Keep smashing the likes, man. 150 in the building. We're only on 50 likes. That means 100 of you have not hit the like button. It's for free. And there's a link in the chat if anybody would like to become a channel member. Support me and Joey further. Massively appreciate it. Right, subscribe and all that good stuff as well. Let's keep it stepping, man. Let's keep it stepping to what's actually in the title of the stream. The Rodrigo stuff was kind of last minute. We didn't even keep an eye on it. It just kind of happened as we were going live. We saw what was going on. In the title, Pep's big decision. Now, me and Joe spoke a lot about Pep and his future over the last few days. City Extra are reporting on Rob Dawson from ESPN and what he has to say about Pep. Every journalist under the sun, people, every single journalist under the sun is going to be non-stop writing, tweeting, talking about Pep Guardiola and his plans in the next 12 months. I've told you what I've heard, and I've told you don't have to believe it. I've told you to not take me as ITK, to not take me as gospel. I just tell you what I hear. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've heard he is leaving next May. I've been told this is his last season. But Rob Dawson at ESPN is saying breaking Man City will ask Pep Guardiola for a final decision on his future by Christmas, with the manager leaning towards leaving. The big six are ringing me, man. What the hell? Go away. With his future by Christmas, with the manager leaning towards leaving Man City after new expanded FIFA Club World Cup in 2025. And then he goes on to say Pep Guardiola is unlikely to take another job in club management, which is a nice thing to hear. He's not going to take another job in club management if true. We kind of said this and we kind of expected this, and this was my prediction that the club will speak to him. Sheikh Mansour and Khaldoon will speak to him in Abu Dhabi this summer, and then they'll probably give him up until Christmas to make his decision and make his decision clear to the club and probably to the fan base too. And we kind of all agreed unanimously that if there is no extension by Christmas time or New Year's type period, it's just definitely not happening. I've been told he's leaving, but do I think there's room for persuasion and room for maneuver? Yes, of course there is, because until there is a formal decision made, there's definitely room. But as of right now, this kind of makes sense, Joe, doesn't it?
Well, everything here tracks with what we've been saying, doesn't it? That we think that. Well, I mean, first off, we think that this is going to be his last season, but everything else tracks, like club job not being on the cards. Like, I think we've been pretty adamant on him taking an international job at some point, because he keeps saying himself that he wants to take an international job at some point. And again, it kind of tracks really well, because if he takes a national team job after he's finished in 2025, 2026 is a World Cup year. There's a tournament. There's a tournament around the corner. It tracks. Like, it works out really well timing-wise. And I mean, I guess that's kind of the feeling that I've got now, is that he doesn't really have anything else to do in club football. He's won everything. England, Spain, Germany won everything, right? Does he realistically want to compete against this City team that he's basically built in club management? I'd say probably not, because it's a massive, massive headache to go, I've built this squad, all of these players, built them up, and now I have to face off against them in the Champions League. Be very, very difficult, but like, it just tracks with everything we've been saying that he's just going to end up leaving. Probably in 2025, because again, it lines up with everything else. Tiki, Fran Soriano, Omar Barada's already left. Like, it just lines up. Everything lines up. His contract's expiring. Things are changing. The calendar's getting more hectic. If we think, well, I mean, by all accounts, Klopp said he was tired and he dipped. You know, if Pep is starting to get tired, the football calendar's getting worse. The new Club World Cup, more games. New Champions League, more games. It's just an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So he has a big decision. And again, this piece of information, it's not new. Anyone could have told you that it normally gets to about Christmas time when he extends, and if he doesn't, then he's not going to. That's, you know, we said that before that this information has come out. That around the time of Christmas, halfway in the season, if there's no news on an extension, done. He's just gone. You just got to accept it. That's what it is. So I don't even think it matters how reliable Rob Dawson is. I think this information is pretty, like, certain. Like, this is just stuff that people know.
Easy journalism, man. It's easy journalism. It's not even lazy journalism. It's just easy journalism. Like, do you know what I mean? If you need content on Man City, if you need articles on Man City, just talk about how unlikely or likely Pep is to stay at the club. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, man. I'm okay with Pep leaving next summer. Like I said, I will hold no grudges. I will not be throwing my toys out of the pram. I will not be shitting myself when Pep leaves, but because it's inevitable. It's just totally inevitable that Pep Guardiola is going to leave. And as Joe said, he's conquered the game, man. He's conquered club football. Now, is this new information from Rob Dawson that he won't take another club job? I don't know. Maybe he will in the future. Maybe it's New York. Who knows? But it makes sense for Pep to either take a sabbatical or go straight into international management. Who knows? We don't know. It makes sense. It's all he hasn't done. He may do nothing. He may take no job. He may not go into international football. He may retire. I'm sure he's a pretty wealthy man, Pep Guardiola. It's not as if he's strapped for cash, but it is what it is, man. Like I said, I told you. I've heard that Tiki's retiring. Fran Soriano is going to New York, and Pep is leaving Manchester City Football Club. So that's kind of where we're at, man. That's kind of where we're at. And it's fine. It's totally fine. We have to accept that, and we have to be grateful for what we've had. Like I said, nothing's formal, nothing's confirmed, and I don't think we'll get any confirmation this summer. I don't think we'll get an extension, nor do I think we'll get an announcement of departure this summer, because it would be really bad for business. It would be really stupid and reckless for City to say next week, announce Pep is leaving May 2025. This will be his last season at the club. All of a sudden, our transfer business is totally damaged this summer because anybody we were planning on signing is going to go, well, I know Pep's only going to be here for one more season, so I don't really want to, or I'm not as interested in signing for Pep as I was, because the reality is, even though as we're Manchester City fans, we're all honest with ourselves enough to know that Pep is our biggest pulling power. Pep is our biggest pulling power. So if we wanted to go in for a Rodrigo, if we wanted to sign Bruno Guimaraes, if we wanted to do whatever, you know what I'm saying? These players will be saying, what's Pep's plan? What's Pep's doing? I want to know what Pep is doing, because a part of me is coming to be managed by Pep. A part of me just wants to play for Pep. Do you think we sign all these amazing players we have done without Pep Guardiola? Maybe, but I don't think all of them. I think the Haaland deal was hinged massively on Pep Guardiola, wasn't it? I mean, do you think we sign Haaland without Pep Guardiola? Maybe. I think there's less of a chance, though, Joe.
Less of a chance. I mean, who else signs him, though? Because we got kind of a free run, didn't we? There was kind of just no one else really interested, so maybe. And then I also kind of put Rodri in the same category. Do we go and sign Rodri, who's basically Busquets 2.0? Probably not. We probably sign someone else in that position. I don't think we go for Rodri, who's now the best in his position. I mean, who else have we got? John Stones. Does he turn out the way he did last season? No. Like, these are just these are just questions. Do we stick with Ederson for this long? Because we know he's better with his feet than with his hands. Like, it's one of them things where not only is it bad for business in terms of trying to sign players, it also basically ends our season. Look what he did for Klopp. Their heads went because they knew he was gone. It just mentally would play a massive part, because then there will be questions of how much is his head in it? How much are the players buying into it knowing he's not going to be here? Like, it's just those things that you got to time it carefully. Because if you do what Liverpool did, and when he gets to November saying, yeah, Klopp's leaving, and then there's a downturn in performances towards the end of the season, there's a correlation. We've done really well in terms of players leaving. We haven't had to deal with the manager leaving in a while, but with players leaving, it has been, apart from when Fernandinho said himself that he was, this was going to be his last season, and there was pretty much confirmation that Aguero wasn't going to be offered an extension. We didn't know Gundogan was leaving till he left. We didn't know Kompany was leaving till he left. Like, these players, we didn't know they were gone until they were gone. So they were important to the team. We just let the season go by and then made a decision.
True. Exactly, devious. If Pep leaves, then certain players will also leave. A ripple effect. Yeah, I expect that. You have to expect that when Pep announces his departure, other players will start to consider their futures at Manchester City. It's the same at Liverpool. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if Salah or Van Dijk or both leave this summer or next summer. I would expect them to lose one or two key players this season. Kevin De Bruyne, yeah, exactly. He could go. Haaland, maybe. I don't know. There's a couple. There's definitely a few that may decide, look, they've completed the game with Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. It's time to go and seek a new challenge. And you can't begrudge them. You cannot begrudge them. But what we have to do as a football club is make sure that we are continuing to go in the right direction. We are continuing to build in the right direction, putting the correct people in place, replacing not only Pep correctly, but replacing Ferran Soriano, replacing Tiki correctly. And it's up to Khaldoon. It's up to Khaldoon, essentially, at that point, to put these people in place, or the new people in place, because he put the originals in place, didn't he? Benjamin Doku, when will Khaldoon interview be out? I would expect in June. Middle of June at some point. Khaldoon's 2-part interview, usually, isn't it, will drop, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens and what he has to say on that. Kevin De Bruyne, Walker will go. I kind of want Walker to go this summer, regardless of Pep staying or not. With Haaland, does Madrid have the same interest as in 2022? Well, look, it's kind of a deep one with Haaland, or there's deeper variables to Haaland's future in Manchester City, because everyone's kind of hell-bent on Real Madrid being the next destination if he is to leave Man City, if there is to be a next destination. But me and Joe have just listed out Real Madrid's attack force. We've just listed out 7 players that Real Madrid have who are either currently world-class or on track to being world-class. They have the potential to be world-class. And then you want to talk about adding an 8th in with Erling Haaland. Where does that fit? How does Haaland fit in? It doesn't. It fucking doesn't.
I'm telling you now, for as good as on paper as a front three of Vinicius, Mbappe and Haaland looks, that does not work in any realm of football whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. It just fucking doesn't. It's total FIFA career mode stuff. And I know people use that term easily nowadays for when clubs buy a couple of really good players at once. It is total FIFA career mode stuff. Haaland, Mbappe, and Vinicius, 3 big personalities, 3 big profiles, 3 top players. It's not going to work. And then they have Rodrigo. Then they have Bellingham, Arda Güler, Brahim Diaz, Endrick, and whoever else. You know what I'm saying? I know Bellingham isn't exactly a front 3 player, but he's still a big profile, a big player in Real Madrid's squad. I think with Mbappe going to Real Madrid, it makes life a lot more difficult for Real Madrid if they did decide they wanted to go for Haaland as well. So maybe Haaland could be stuck with us, or maybe he goes to Italy, maybe he goes somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't even want to go. Maybe
could you imagine the head loss, right? Could you imagine the scenario? He fucks off to PSG and wins a Champions League with PSG. Could you imagine? Mate,
surely he can't go to PSG. Surely he can't, man.
Where else though?
Abu Dhabi and Qatar, do you know what I mean? The beef that those countries have, those nations having that, Abu Dhabi being City, Qatar being PSG. City, I just think City wouldn't even let him go.
No, I don't think. But I'm just imagining the scenario that Mbappe fails for like 4 years and Haaland rocks up and wins it. Could you imagine? Oh my God! It
would end the debate for me. It would fucking end the debate. The debate's over for me now, but it would end the debate for me.
Debate's over, but it's like the only place I could really see. I mean, I don't think he'd go to Bayern after going to Dortmund. I really don't think he would. And going to Italy, which Italian club can afford him?
Yeah, no. Well, the Italians don't have a huge amount of money in their league.
He might be stuck. He might actually be stuck. He might have to just deep it.
But look, there's a world where maybe Haaland doesn't want to go. Maybe Haaland's like, I don't actually really want to go. And look, the thing is, if you want to retain players like Haaland, who else is there? You want to retain players like Haaland, Rodri, Ruben Diaz, and these kind of players post Pep Guardiola. If you want to do it post Pep Guardiola and keep them for the next project because they're young enough to be part of the next project, you need to pitch it to them very well. You need to explain to them what the plan is, and you need to get in a good manager and, outline to them what the future of the club looks like, and outline to them what they can expect and how City plan to challenge again the way they have done under Pep, but it may take a couple of years to get back to that point. And that we are best placed as a football club to get back to that standard at a quick enough pace. I'm not saying get back to Pep Guardiola levels because it's totally outrageous, but get back to being in the mix and being one of the bookies' favourites for Champions League, for Premier League, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? I would expect some of the older lot, maybe Stones, De Bruyne, Walker, who else is there? The slightly older ones. Kovacic, to say, look, when Pep goes, it's probably time for them to go, and that's their cycle as footballers and under Pep Guardiola's come to an end, or else it's time for them to get their last big payday or go and have a new challenge, maybe back to Sheffield United for Walker. I don't know, but for the younger players, we can definitely, if the infrastructure is put in place, we can definitely retain these younger players. Your Haalands, your Fodens, because I promise you, people, I know Foden in our heads, he's set in stone to stay at City forever. But when Pep leaves, you will have clubs chancing their arm. You'll have clubs chancing their arm to see can they tempt Phil Foden away from Manchester City. It's just business. It's just business, people. Now, does Foden want that? I wouldn't think so. I would think Foden has the plan to stay at Manchester City forever, get his statue, be a legend, and so on and so forth. But clubs will try it. They will fucking try it. You think they care about the sentimentality and the love between Foden and Manchester City? Absolutely fucking not. They will chance their arm. But for us to make sure these players are satisfied, make sure they're still invested and bought into our project, Khaldoon, the Sheikh, whoever is involved post Varane and Tiki Bergestein have to get the correct people put in place, have to keep City moving forward. We can't allow ourselves to regress post Pep Guardiola. We can't allow ourselves to go back a load of steps, go back to Mancini, Pellegrini type days, which were great for what they were, but we've moved on since then. Do you know what I mean? We've progressed, come on, leaps and bounds since then. So it's up to the hierarchy at that point. It's a hierarchy problem. It's a hierarchy duty to make sure that City keep going forward. We should always be trying to go forward. So look, that's kind of where we're at with Pep Guardiola, man. Like I said, I expect Ferran Soriano, Pep, and Tiki to leave next summer. The landscape of City is going to change. but that doesn't mean we have to go backwards, Joe. It really doesn't mean we have to. Like, of course, we're going to digress a little bit, but it doesn't have to mean total regression.
No, I mean, the first step, of course, is you look internally. We have a massive footballing operation across multiple countries. You look internally to see if you can find the solutions in-house already. I'm looking at directors, because you look at, obviously, Tiki and Ferran Soriano going. I'm looking at promotion to the big boy club.
Promotion.
Same thing with managers. Have we got a manager in the CFG that we trust? Look at the Girona manager. There's a lot of noise about him being a potential candidate. You've got to put together a list of candidates. When you're trying to explain this future vision, if Pep's going to go, when you talk about these young players, you got to explain the vision. Who is your top managerial candidate? Who is on the managerial list? I don't want to have a list of about 10 names. I want you to have 4 or 5 names. We're in a position now where we're an attractive enough, club in terms of how we're running, the players that we've got, where we can attract a manager that maybe other clubs can't. I don't want like a list of maybe got 4 or 5 names.
I don't want to go down the Bayern Munich route.
Yeah, no, fuck, Jesus
27
Christ.
people down and they land on Vincent Kompany. All due respect to Vincent Kompany, but do you know what I mean? He definitely was not their first, second, or third choice.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want to have 4 or 5 names maximum. You get at least one of them. You have a list. You explain your list. You build the team around players like Foden, Guardiola, Rodri, Haaland. They're the mainstays. They're the future. Even though Rodri's about 27 and he's played enough games to probably be about 30 in football terms. You build around these guys. You got Doku as well you can throw in there. You could get Savio potentially if he works out. You build. I'm looking at next generation, season after Pep. You build around Foden. No one else. You build around Phil Foden. You do whatever you can to make that guy stay, to make that guy happy. He is the next guy. That's what you do. You have to pitch this plan. And if Pep leaving, like you said, if the senior players, the 30-year-olds, decide that that is the end of their cycle as well, I would understand, but it would probably be also, for the fact that it's uncertain and a bit scary, but it's probably still the best decision. Because how do you build a new project with a new manager with those players who don't have a long shelf life?
True.
You need to get younger and you need to, try and maintain what we've got while also refreshing the squad. Because the reality of the situation is the first season after Pep probably won't win anything, if I'm being real. Because it's going to take time for the players to adjust to a new manager. It's just going to happen. So will we win? Maybe not win anything. Because obviously, I can't say for certain. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. But winning, say, the Premier League or the Champions League, very, very unlikely, I'd say, to win, one of the big two in the first season after Pep. Because there's going to be a transition. That's just what it is. Transition. We've always struggled in transition seasons. The season that Liverpool won the league was a transition for us. We struggled a lot that season. Every turn we struggled. Even the season just gone was a little bit of a transition. And we struggled heavily against the big teams. So much. A transition period. And that was with Pep. That was a Pep transition. Now we're talking about a transition period with a different manager who's just not as good. Whoever it is, just isn't as good. So, you've got to face the reality of the situation of probably won't be as successful. Definitely won't be as successful. I struggle to see a scenario where we've won what we've won with another manager. I really struggle to see it. So, you've got to try and pitch the future. Build around the players that you want to stay. But again, I'm looking at in-house. If we have such a successful business model with the CFG of multi-club ownership, if that is successful, then look in-house for your replacements, if you think that is sustainable.
Yeah, I hear it. I like that model and that idea of promoting within. But look, this summer's huge in terms of not just providing Pep the platform for success in the upcoming season, or next season, I should say. It's also trying to give ourselves a platform and a good core to work with when Pep's gone. Do you know what I mean? Try and retain as much quality. The club, if they're trying to sign big names this summer, are also going to have to pitch the project post-Pep. they're also going to have to explain what their plans are post Pep. Because if you're just going to say to these players, look, we have 1 year with Pep, and then after that, we'll see what happens. A lot of these players coming in will say, that doesn't sound very stable to me. That doesn't sound very convincing or like a well thought through project. And we're just going to see what happens. You know what I mean? Kind of try our luck when Pep is gone. No, the club need to be 4, 5, 6 steps ahead with this one and ensure that the players incoming are satisfied with what life after Pep Guardiola is going to look like. So massive job, massive fucking job for these board members that are staying, and for the chairman Caldoun and so on and so forth. So look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. We're going to keep it moving on to the Bruno Guimaraes story now in a second. Guys, 200 in the building. Great that you are all joining us. Just a quick favor we ask is that you hit the like button, man. Just hit the thumbs up button, big thumbs up button below us. It's free to do, and subscribe if you're new. We're 160 away from 9K. Would love to hit 9,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and all of your help can make that happen. And there's a link in the chat if anybody wants to support further and become a channel member. It's a great prestigious club for great prestigious people, the channel memberships. I see Briggsy, I see who else is a member here. Herbal, we've got Bree, we've got Jack Lee. These are all great members, great supporters of the channel. If anybody else wants to be a channel member, Bevo renewed as well today. Good to see Bevo. Yeah, you'll be helping us out massively. Just hit the like button anyway. Right, let's keep it stepping. Bruno G stories heating up. Bruno G stories heating up. I have heard a few things about it. I have heard a few ITK stuff. You know me, big ITK. I'm not ITK, but I'll tell you what I hear. Trust me, people, I'll always tell you what I hear. Bruno Guimaraes is sought after by both Arsenal and Manchester City right now. Would Arsenal ever just fuck off, yeah? They just stop going after players we're interested in, yeah? I'm sick of hearing about Arsenal nowadays. Constantly, Arsenal this, Arsenal that, yeah? Bruno Guimaraes, I'm a massive fan. I'm a massive fan, and I know he's divisive in that sense. Some people don't really rate him like that, and some people do rate him like that. For me, Bruno Guimaraes is absolutely perfect for what we need to do and what we want going forward. He is not the Gundogan replacement, but he's a better version of a replacement than what Kovacic is. He can sit beside Rodri, he can go into the number 8 and do some of the legwork that we're constantly talking about that Kevin De Bruyne won't be able to do moving forward. And the thing with Bruno Guimaraes is he's an excellent passer, excellent in transition play, fantastic technical ability. He screams Manchester City. And the thing is, a lot of people are very harsh on Bruno Guimaraes, if you ask me, Joe, because of the season he just had with Newcastle. And there's a lot of variables that go into Newcastle's season and why it went a bit tits up in the end. They were absolutely plagued with injuries. I don't know, can you blame Eddie Howe and what's that fucker called? Tyndall, for the way they operate their training. But they were plagued with injuries. And Bruno for Newcastle is like what Haaland was for Dortmund. When he's fit, he must fucking play. He must fucking play. The physical demands on Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle are absolutely monumental. Absolutely monumental. So I think bring him into our team where the pressure's not solely on him. I mean, he's played 50 fucking games this season. 50. Do you know what I'm saying? That's outrageous. We complain about Rodri hitting those kind of numbers. 50 games for Bruno Guimaraes. Altogether, 4,359 minutes. It's an outrageous amount of football. Of course the fucker's tired. Of course he's played too much football. 10 goals or 7 goals, 10 assists in all competitions. He'd get more with Manchester City. He'd get more with Manchester City. I know a lot of you, I see a lot of you in the chat saying you're not too arsed about Bruno Guimaraes and his 100 million release clause. I just think technically and positionally what Pep looks for and what Pep likes, Bruno has that written all over him, in my opinion, Joe.
Told you the other day, didn't I? When we were speaking about the future of the club. I said, well, you know, when we got into the topic of transfers, I said, you can go back and find this, Bruno's my number 1 target. And the fact that Newcastle have fallen out of European competition altogether, watch this space. It's very much a more realistic possibility than it was before that FA Cup final. Because you're thinking Newcastle Conference League, they might be able to win that. They'd very much fancy their chances of winning the Conference League. Maybe they could convince Bruno to stay. They'd probably be better off with FFP. Now that they've fallen out of Europe completely, that FFP issue of them potentially having to sell has just got worse. So they might actually be forced to sell, make profit on players. Who springs to mind first? The guy with a £100 million release clause. Because you imagine, if they sell a player for 100 million, you know, they'd probably be okay with just that one sale, be able to keep the rest of the core together, maybe even sign one or two players after that. But for me, he's my number one target because, like I've said already, with the new Champions League format, with the new Club World Cup format, potentially, if we progress in every competition the way that we usually do, we're playing 70 games a season. 70. Rodri is dead by game week 50. He is dead.
It's true, man.
We need... This is why I want Bruno, because he can sit beside Rodri. Easily sit beside Rodri and do a more advanced role, a number 8, a box-to-box, if you will, still with the technical ability. But he is that guy who... He's physical enough of a player to be able to hold his own in a 6. I think the issue that we've had with players like Gundogan and Kovacic is they've been a bit lightweight. So when they've had to hold down that, you know, that holding midfield role, they haven't had the physical attributes. They have the technical attributes, they can read the game, but physically, no. Bruno has the physical abilities. I mean, he's a yellow card magnet, for fuck's sake. Like, he's perfect. He's like Fernandinho. He's going to get a bucket, he's going to snap someone. So, like, he's my number 1 target. He is my number 1 target because of the fact that he fills the exact positional need that we want. We want a midfield player who can either sit beside Rodri or play instead of Rodri. That is what we're all crying out for, so that Rodri doesn't have to play 60 games. So that kind of makes him my number 1 target because he's exactly what we need.
He's my number 1 target too. He's my number 1 target. He's my must get this summer. Bruno is my must get this summer. It is a massive, massive fuck up if we do not bring in a sufficient complement and supplement to Rodri. Massive, massive fuck up. If we go and get someone who might be able to help Rodri, might be able to, you know, take minutes off him, and then it turns out he doesn't, like a Calvin Phillips, it is a major, major fucking mistake. Like critical mistake. We're talking like long-term damage for Rodri, short-term and long-term damage for ourselves. We must protect Rodri. We knew this last summer. We didn't do it properly. We thought it was going to be Calvin Phillips. We gave Calvin Phillips the time. Did that fucking work out? No, it didn't. Get Phillips off the books. Get Calvin Phillips off the books. Let him go to Everton if that's where he wants to go. Let him go to Ipswich or Leicester, wherever the hell he wants to go. Let him go, cut our losses, get Phillips off the books. Bring in Bruno. 4,300 minutes played in the Premier League this season, 50 games. He's played 47 times as a lone DM, as a DM on his own. So he has a lot of fucking experience playing as a Rodri, playing as the holding midfielder. Bruno is exactly what we need. Exactly what we need. And look, is he a £100 million player? No, he's not. Is Jack Grealish? No. Is Declan Rice? No. Is Caicedo? No. But I would pay £100 million, first of all, for Bruno's services, and whatever extra out of that £100 million that isn't his services that we believe his services are worth, it's just simply paying for protection for Rodri. Pay to protect Rodri. Paying that money to give Rodri extra longevity and extra player protection, it's worth every penny in my opinion. Because I guarantee you, if we get to November, December, January, February, and all of a sudden Rodri's hamstring snaps in half or off the bone, or his ACL pops out of place, and we go, right, who have we got to play in Rodri's position? Well, we're looking at Mateus Nunes. We let Calvin Phillips go because he was rubbish. We have Kovacic, maybe can do it, but do you trust Kovacic to do it for a long spell? No. You're kind of fucked. You're kind of fucked. I know Bruno, for a lot of you lot, doesn't hit like that. He doesn't give you that dopamine hit like, oh, yeah, we're signing a big motherfucker here. We're signing a big dog player. It's just a guaranteed worker. It's a guaranteed hit. It's a guaranteed safety net. It's guaranteed comfort. And all of you who watch City for long enough under Pep Guardiola will know Pep is not interested in midfielders who are just set position midfielders. If you're a midfielder who only plays as a number 6, unless you're Rodri or Busquets, He doesn't really want to know you. If you're a midfielder who only plays as a number 8 and won't play as a number 6 or a box-to-box, he doesn't really want to know you. Pep wants midfielders who fall under the general umbrella of midfielders, who can play a variety of roles, a variety of positions, a variety of systems. That's Bruno! That's Bruno Guimaraes! A versatile, up and down the pitch midfielder, a destroyer, a creator, a goal scorer, an enforcer. Trust me. I get it. Trust me. It's not like signing Kimmich. It's not like signing fucking Tchouaméni or Camavinga. It's not going to give you that big. Oh yeah, this is a sexy signing. It's just a safe signing. It's a safe signing, and it's one I think City must make. I think had we got Declan Rice last summer, yeah, bro, league would have been over. League would have been over by April. Done. Finito. But we didn't get Declan Rice. The next one down the list from Declan Rice, for what role Pep wanted Rice for, it's Bruno G, Joe. It's fucking Bruno G. It just makes sense.
It makes so much sense that we're probably not going to sign him.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's fucking true, isn't it?
It's the nail that, what as Gary Neville said, it was nailed on. It's the banker. But yeah, I mean, this kind of just goes down to how much he wants to leave. Like, Newcastle are so far away from being able to properly challenge. They, of course, when they had full fitness last season, or 2 seasons ago now, they got to a Carabao Cup final and they lost. But it only gets more difficult. We saw what happened when they were in European football, knocked out in the group stages. They didn't deal well with the extra games, loads of injuries. They just had an absolutely awful season. Not really down to their fault, but I mean, I guess the way I look at Newcastle's situation is they're a very good football side now. They have a very good team. But
Can I interject, Joe? Can I interject?
Can you
Just to add
interject?
to-
Yes, she can.
And I'm saying that to be polite, because you know me, people, I'm a polite motherfucker. The next, another reason to add, and just before I forgot, why Bruno Guimaraes is perfect for what we need. The fucker's never injured. He didn't have a single injury in 50 games. He missed 1 game all season away to Bournemouth from yellow card suspension. 1 game he missed in the whole campaign for Newcastle through yellow card suspension. What is it you always say, Joe? The best ability is?
Availability, baby. That's the one that we
Hit
want.
the soundboard.
It's the only one I have on hand. No, but it has to be the one. It has to be the one, because we love a good release clause over here. We are release clause FC. When a player has a set price, Tiki gets a little bit hot under the collar, he gets a little bit sweaty, goes, oh my God, release clause. Wow, free player. Oh my God. So it's one of them where it fits exactly what we need, and it makes so much sense that it's like, probably not going to fucking sign him. It's going to be disappointing, but that's my number 1 target. And I think since I said the other day, I said 2 days ago, that since it came out that Paqueta is going to be suspended, he's going to be banned, my number 1 target is now just gone to Bruno. Because although they are different players, like, Bruno is again a positional need, because there was obviously talk about Paqueta being able to be coached into playing a deeper role. But you don't need to coach Bruno to do that. You can do that already. I think why Paqueta was my number 1 is because he was a bit cheaper and he's more of an attacking option. But with Bruno, maybe a bit more defensive. But with the season that we've just had defensively, you can't say we don't fucking need it.
For sure. For fucking sure. He's got 5 years, he's got 4 years left in his contract, and he's on 160,000 a week. Bro, we can give him more than 160,000 a week, no problem. If you think Bruno Guimaraes would not jump at the opportunity to play for Manchester City, you're wrong. He would fucking love to play for Manchester City. Our only obstacle is Arsenal, because they're letting go Partey this summer. So I've heard anyway that Partey's going to leave Arsenal. So looking to replace him, and Bruno's kind of the perfect replacement for Partey as well, isn't he? To sit beside Declan Rice or behind Declan Rice. So that's our competition.
They don't want to pay, though. That was the thing I saw. Arsenal don't want to pay his release clause. They want to try and get him for less than 100 million, or they're not interested.
Because that would mean they've paid 205 million for Bruno and Declan
For a
Rice.
pivot. For a pivot.
For
They've
a
done a
pivot.
Chelsea.
A 205 million pivot. Wild. That's wild, man. You can't. That's crazy stuff. But listen, I think Bruno's the man. Bruno's the man for me, man. He's my number 1 target. I get it, people. I take on board what you're saying. That you know, I mean, there's Kimmich's out there. There's all sorts of players out there that you might enjoy more. You might prefer to see City sign. He's 26. He has easily 7 years, 7 years, 6, 7 years of quality football for Man City. And look, let's not forget, people. We always know, we always understand that when Pep signs any player, you expect them to get 15, 20, 25% better. Because Pep's going to coach them to being a better player. That's what Pep Guardiola does, what he's done with all his players. Your pivot got mashed up at Wembley. Shush. So yeah, look, that's Bruno, man. That's Bruno. I think he's our guy. I think City must go and get him. I have heard, once again, I've heard, I'm hearing a lot. But do not take me seriously if you wish not to. That City have come close to agreeing personal terms with him. That they've made loads of contact with him. And personal terms are close to getting over the line. That City are going to push really, really fucking hard to get this deal done. And listen, as Joe said, in true City fashion, we probably won't get him. We probably won't get him. We'll be let down. But I think he's what we need. I think it'll give us a lot more stability, comfort in the midfield area, which is desperately what we need right now. Desperately what we need. Comfort and stability.
Typical City fashion. He's right there. Release clause falls into our laps. Newcastle out of Europe, release clause. Everything fits like a glove. We need him. What does City do? Sign some fucking guy we've never heard of before for half the price from fucking whoever.
And hope. And just hope. Fucking hell, man. Right, let's get on to the last story. Quick reminder, people, hit the like button. Still 200 in the building. Thumbs up button, smash that, subscribe, hit that, and there's a link in the chat to become a channel member if anybody wants to support me and Joey Boy bringing you content as much as we physically can. And we're loving it. So become a channel member today. It's what the big dogs do. T's and C's do apply. Right, Ederson. Well, they don't actually apply. There's no T's and C's. You're just becoming a channel member. But right, Ederson. Our beloved Ederson. A lot going on with Ederson right now. A lot. The report today was Ederson was set to sign an extension at Manchester City earlier on the summer. I'm trying to find it now. Or earlier on the season, I should say. I'm trying to find it. City Extra, man. There's so much on City Extra, it's hard to find. There's an article here Freddie wrote, I think. He was set to sign a contract during the season, as an extension. He never signed it. Now he's got interest from Saudi. And he's considering his interest in Saudi. I'm going to find the article, Joe. I'm going to find the info. But tell us what you think on the Ederson sitch.
Potentially scary stuff, really. Considering I saw the rumoured price or the rumoured first offer from Saudi was like 25 million. You could pay for one of his golden gloves with that money. You fucking cheap bastards. Up that shit, and then you can start fucking talking. Come with me 25 million. Honestly, I don't want a situation where this utter fucking psychopath is not on our books next season. I don't want it. While Pep is here, he is my goalkeeper. There's no one better at what he does. No one. Stefan Ortega might be a good shot stopper. Great shot stopper, even. But we saw what happened at Wembley. He's not the greatest with his feet. I mean, he passed it. I think he played it on a plate to... I can't remember whether it was Rashford or whoever at Wembley. There was that mad 5 minutes where we kept passing it back to United in our own penalty box, and Stefan Ortega was doing the same. That's Ederson. It seems like away, but it's not at the feet of United. Like we've got two good goalkeepers, but one of them does one thing better than the other. And I just think with the way that we play, again, with Pep doing at least one more year, I'd want at least another year out of Ederson. I think he's perfect for Pep. I want him to be in goal while he's still here.
He's on $100,000 a week and he's contracted for another 2 years. How is Ederson on $100,000 a week, people? He should be on at least $200,000 a week, 250, if not more. He should be up there with He should be up there with Rodri's, Vardiols, and Foden's in the kind of 2 to 250 region, somewhere between 2 and 250. That's where Ederson should be at. I think Ederson's frustrated. I think he feels underloved. I think he feels underappreciated. You know, his wages speak for themselves. 100 grand a week. I mean, who's on similar wages to Ederson? He's on the same wages as Alvarez. He's on less than Mateus Nunes. Ederson's on less than Mateus Nunes by 30 grand a week. That's underappreciation at its finest. Ederson does not get the love and appreciation he deserves. And we're seeing reports as well that City are interested in signing some Bundesliga keeper to be a backup. I can't find his name either. There's so much shit online here. I can't find it. City are interested in signing some Bundesliga keeper and promoting Ortega should Ederson go. I think it's a massive, massive mistake if City don't pull out all the stops to get Ederson to sign the new contract. According to Sam Lee, the contract's still on the table for Ederson to sign. I would imagine and I would hope to God it's a significant pay increase because he deserves it. It's a massive, massive error if City do not keep Ederson. If he goes to Al Ittihad for 25 million this summer, it's a massive, massive mistake. Like a critical mistake. As much as we all love Stefan Ortega and appreciate him for the Spurs goal and so on and so forth, he's not Ederson. He's not. He's just not. Look, you don't know what you had till it's gone. You don't know what you had till it's gone. I promise you, our overall play will suffer if Ederson is not between the sticks for us on a week-to-week basis. He's too technically good. He reads the game too well. He picks his passes too well. He knows how to unlock a press too well. It will be a massive mistake if City allow Ederson to leave for 25 million to Al Ittihad. Like, detrimental. Detrimental. He's one of the most important players to our overall build-up play. You talk about our great ball-playing defenders and centre-halves, they are not as good without Ederson. He's able to make angles, make space that other keepers simply aren't able to do. There's a reason why he has over 330 appearances for Manchester City. There's a reason why Pep has trusted Ederson throughout his whole tenure. Since we let Bravo go, because that one was a failure. There's a reason why Pep trusted Ederson, and Ederson has stayed the trusted man. It would be such an L, such a major L, to let Ederson go and leave him or leave him on 100 grand a week, Joe. It's actually laughable. It's one of the few flaws, one of the few gripes I have with City, is that they're not paying Ederson properly. The fucker deserves it.
Champions League run. Fucking hell, how many saves?
People forget these things, man. People forget these things.
Mate, honestly, right. Here's a question then, I suppose, for the chat and yourself. And I think I know where you stand. I know where I stand. If you were given the option, you had to lose one of the two goalkeepers in the summer, Ortega or Ederson. You lose one, the other's first choice. Who'd you lose? Who would you rather let go? I'd let Ortega go. I'd let him go. If someone offers me like 40 million for Ortega, whether it's Chelsea or not, because they've been sniffing about, I'd let him go. I'd let him go over Ederson. I don't care how good of a backup he is. He's a backup. That's what he is. He's too good to be a backup, but he's not good enough to start for us. It's the situation. It's the reality of the situation. The way that we play right now, I mean, who knows? Under a different manager, potentially a goalkeeper playing with his feet becomes less important. Still, you know, most managers nowadays do it, but it becomes less important. But with Pep, it's like the utmost importance that you feel no pressure in goal with your feet and that you can play like an outfield player.
Exactly. So, look, that's the Ederson news. There's no development on it further other than the contract's on the table for him, and we'll just have to see where it goes. I just pray and hope City remind him of how important he is. Pep speaks to him. Like I said, I think he's frustrated, Ederson. I think he's frustrated and feels underappreciated, which is sad because he's one of the main men in all of our success in the Pep Guardiola era. So, do it, City, man. Show the guy some love and appreciation. But yeah, that's kind of it, really. Live for over an hour and 10 minutes now. So we're going to start wrapping it up. Just a reminder that to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and the link in the chat if anybody wishes to be a channel member and support further. We should be live tomorrow again at 3:30 if any news kind of comes about worth talking about. We're putting a panel together for a weekly show. Going to bring you guys some new content, fresh faces, fresh voices. You probably get sick of listening to me and Joe waffle on non-stop. So we're going to bring in, we've got Briggsy tied down. We've got Bevo tied down. We've got Luke from his new channel, City Luke TV, tied down. He's live at 7. Go over and check him out. So yeah, if anybody else wants to come onto the show, become a channel member first. If you have to be a channel member, they're all channel members. Join our Discord server and shoot us a message, and you're all welcome to come on and chat to us. We want as many of you to have a voice as possible and get to say your say. So become a channel member and shoot us a message if you want to join us on the show. You'd be absolutely welcomed. But yeah, listen, until tomorrow or whenever we next get to stream, hopefully tomorrow, but we don't want to just stream for the sake of streaming either, because you guys, once again, will get bored of us very quickly. Believe it or not. This face, you'll get bored of it. Yeah, listen, we'll see you tomorrow or Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, Blues. Good night and God bless. Wrap her up, Joy Boy.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are